Hey, good morning, everyone. Hey, Shenanigans78, welcome in. Glad to be back after having to cancel my show last week. Sorry to have to do that. For any of you who are at my Paper Palooza show, you know, my mom went in the hospital, so I was still dealing with that on Monday. She's fine, though, so um, I'm back and glad to be here. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Hey, Zimmel Jess, welcome in. Antique Goods. Let me get my YouTube stream up here real quick. Make sure that's muted. All right. Hey, good morning. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Mine was okay. I'm worked at my antique booth in Clinton on Saturday, so that was that whole day. Tried to go yard selling on Friday. I don't know if anybody else is having the same experience with me as me this summer. This has been like the worst yard selling summer that I have ever seen. Um, I mean, there's not many, and the ones there are, there's just not that much stuff. Hey, Gina, welcome in. Need more coffee? Lake Plaza Energy. Thanks for stopping by. I am Stuart with Franklin Hill Ventures. This is a show that I do every Monday morning at 8:30. It's just a quick 30-minute show. We just get together, chat, talk about what we did over the weekend. I'll answer any questions anybody has about reselling in general or whatnot specifically. Don't have all the answers, but I have been doing it a long time. I think I've been reselling now for 20 plus years at least, and been on whatnot now since May of last year. I think was when I did my first show. So seen a lot of changes, some for the better, some maybe not for the better, but overall I love the platform and I think they're constantly looking to improve things and make things better. Hey, Pickle Puss, welcome in. Did anybody else do anything exciting this weekend? Um, I did get to eat some good ribs last night. We had a small group thing for church in the guy's house that it was at. Smoked ribs, and they were incredibly good. Hey, Gail, my mother in law is on here. Thanks for coming in. Bobby Dazzle, Subros 2000. Thanks to everybody for stopping by. Oh, yeah. Um, yeah, stay dry. Where are you out on the West Coast, Pickle Puss? I think you are. So, yeah, I know I've got a friend in San Diego and I was Vegas. Okay. Yeah, I know they were getting a lot of rain as well. Are y'all dealing with a lot of flooding in Vegas? I know they had some flash flood watches and warnings, but hopefully it'll end up not being as bad as what they said. To be honest, I haven't really watched any of the weather or news this morning to know how bad it's gotten. And I have not heard from my friend in San Diego. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're okay, but they were expecting a lot of rain. Um, how did I get started in resale? Ooh, well, I got started really, well, probably in high school. Actually, goes all the way back to junior high. I would go to the convenience store in the morning before I would get on the bus, and I would buy blow pops, or we would make cinnamon toothpicks with the cinnamon oil, and I would take those to school and sell them for more than I bought them for. So that's kind of how I got started. My mom would also make me brownies, and I would take those to school and sell them. So it goes really back to, when I was junior high school, and then didn't really do anything in college. And then when I got out of college, I opened a sports card booth in Nashville at the flea market there, and that was my first kind of foray into, I guess, real reselling, so to speak. And then got married, had kids. Once again, didn't do anything for a while, and then really started getting serious about it once the kids were kind of at an age where we weren't. I guess when they weren't just real little. And I have two brothers, and we're real competitive, and we would always go to yard sales and things of that nature and see who could buy the most stuff and sell it for the most. And it just kind of grew from there. And then I ended up, started to go to auctions, caught that bug, ended up opening several antique booths, got three of them now, selling six online platforms and also on Whatnot. So stay pretty busy. And that, I guess, in a nutshell, is how I got started. But I was reselling, shoot, when I was a kid. So Hey, welcome in. Namaste Vintage, Mary and Claude Silver Haas. Appreciate y'all stopping by. I apologize for not being on last week. Had to cancel my show at the last minute. My mom went in the hospital last weekend. If you were on my Paper Palooza show, Amy and I both had to rush out before the show was over. She thought she was having a stroke, but in the end, she was fine. They, diagnosed it as a TIA, and they're doing some follow up stuff. But overall, I think she's going to be okay. She doesn't seem to have any residual effects, but she was still in the hospital on Monday and she was being discharged. And so I ended up having to go get her. So anyway, really glad to be back, and looking forward to getting a lot done this week. Because yeah, last week was I ended up taking my mom to the doctor to a doctor's appointment and some other things that so I did not get as much done like work wise as I wanted to. But hey, Tom for Treasure, welcome in. Did anybody else do anything exciting over the weekend? I think I asked that before I started in on my thing about how I got started in reselling. Um, but yeah, I was mentioning I went out yard selling Friday and I found like one address that I went to and it was terrible. And then I did go to an estate sale that was pretty good. Got some paper stuff for my next paper. Well, maybe not my next paper show, but for an upcoming paper show. It was a really cool ledger, like an accounting ledger from the early 1900s, and it was just cram packed full of other paper, like bill heads and letters. And to be honest, I really haven't looked through it yet, but I just picked that up. I mean, I saw it in the pictures before I went to the estate sale. So, that's what I was trying to get to first. And I was fortunate enough to find it before anybody else did. So I did get that and got a few other things at that estate sale that were, kind of cool. But really, that was the extent of what I found this weekend, not just a whole lot. I am working on getting up to 1,000 listings on some of the other online marketplaces. That's my next goal. I'm like at 950, 960, something like that. But you're constantly stair stepping, which is a good problem to have. But I'll list 10, sell five, list 10, sell five. So it takes a little while to get up there. Hey, Llama Del Rey, I like that name. Lover Girls 20, Get Work Bake Company. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure I'm not missing anything on the YouTube side over here. I am Stuart with Franklin Hill Ventures here in Knoxville, Tennessee, for anybody who has not been to one of my shows before. So, Tiny Little Cars, I use a product called List Perfectly. It's a cross posting tool, and there's any number of tools out there. There's List Perfectly, there's two or three others that help you. And it doesn't like automatically do everything, it's more of a tool to help you coordinate it. So in my case, I'm listing to eBay, Etsy, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace, Depop, and Poshmark, and then plus to the marketplace on Whatnot. Although it List Perfectly allows me to tell what I have on Whatnot, but it doesn't actually do the cross posting there. So that part's a manual process. But the List Perfectly catalog will let me know that I have it listed and Whatnot. But the other platforms, I put it into the List Perfectly catalog. It pushes out to the other 6 platforms I sell on. Then when I sell something, I more or less click a sold button and it opens up tabs where I can end those listings. They are working on automatic delisting, which I hope will come pretty soon. But for now, it's more helps you coordinate the process. But just to be honest, it did. This sounds, I guess, kind of dramatic, but it did change my reselling life to an extent, because before I was cross posting, I was pretty much just listing to the bay, and then I would list some stuff to Etsy. But it really increased my sales exponentially over what I was doing. It wasn't just like 6 times by going to 6 marketplaces. It really amped up the amount of stuff I was selling. So that is how I keep up with it. And if anybody's ever interested in trying out List Perfectly, you can use code FHV on the website for 30% off your first month. So that's the one plug I'll do in this show. Hey, Simply Sadie, Kendall, Sean, appreciate y'all stopping by. Yeah, and for anybody who's on the West Coast, I hope you're staying dry and safe. I know it's supposed to be doing a lot of raining. Here we had a lot of rain for about a 2 week period, but now it's just really hot and dry and humid. I think today it's 91. Tomorrow, in the next couple of days, it's mid 90s. So it's going to be really hot here. For the most part, our neighborhood's recovered from the tornadoes that came through here a couple of weeks ago. I guess it was the last time I did a show, it was that day. So 2 Mondays ago, we had the EF2 tornado come through Knoxville, and it happened to come right through our neighborhood. Yes, FHV, that is correct. So, and that will give you 30% off your first month on any plan that you decide to use. They have 3 different plans. There's like a simple's free, and then I can't remember what the other tiers are called. I mean, personally, and I mean, I'll just tell you up front, like the highest plan they have, the business plan's $70 a month, which sounds like a lot. But if you sell, I usually pay for that with my first, 2 or 3 sales of the month. And like I know Vendu also has it, and they do theirs. Their pricing's more based on number of listings you can do. List Perfectly's pricing's based on features, so all of them have unlimited listings where you can list to their catalog, but it's based on features. And I mean, in my opinion, if you're going to do it, I'm kind of a jump in the deep end with both feet kind of person. So I went straight to the business plan, and it cross posts pretty much every field to every platform. And Tiny Little Cars, if you do decide to try it out, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And also, if you sign up, make sure you take advantage of List Perfectly's onboarding. They'll do a free call with you, and they'll like go over everything with you at no cost, over what you're paying for the subscription. But yeah, I don't mind at all either. If you have questions, you can reach out directly to me, Stuart at franklinhillventures.com. So, um, and now I forgot what I was saying about the other, but I always do a giveaway during this show. The main part of the giveaway is this Vintage Christmas Carols book, which I actually absolutely love the expression on these girls' faces. The girl up here looks completely angry to be there, which I can understand because when I was a kid and we had to go to like choir and stuff, so there were it's one of the things I did not like. So I probably had that look on my face a lot. Then I've just got a couple of little extras I'll throw in with that. So I will do that at about 5 till, and then we find somebody to raid, and then we can all go about our day and try to be productive. I am hoping for a productive week. I do some IT consulting on the side as well for hospitals, so that kind of comes and goes in waves. And this week I'm like in a busy wave, so I've got a lot of stuff to do for that as well. Um, I've got like three different hospitals that I'm working with right now, so that'll take up a fair amount of time. So got to budget my time so that I can still get my reselling stuff done. And I do have a Whatnot show this week. I'm part of the it's like a crafter's junk journal, I guess, train is what it is. So for me, I'll still do my normal ephemera, but I may do stuff that's more like uh, good for junk journaling that maybe it's not in quite as good a shape as the stuff I would normally sell. But that's Friday at 6 p.m. and it'll just be an hour show. So looking forward to that. I usually don't go outside the like ephemera category proper. So this will be over in the crafting category, I think is where it is. So be a little different for me, but still the same type of stuff that I normally sell. I used to sell a lot more variety on Whatnot, but what I found is that um, like I would do some glassware shows and stuff in the past. And I mean, I certainly don't mind shipping glassware. I mean, if I turn my camera around, you can see this is all stuff that I have listed on other platforms. And you can see the majority of it is China, breakables. Like somebody bought like 26 pieces of China from me last week. So I had to get all that packaged up. So I certainly don't mind packaging breakables. The difference between Whatnot and other platforms for me anyway is if I'm selling ephemera and I sell 50 things, it's relatively quick and easy to package. Now I do have breakables in my buy it now, and I sell my Franklin Hill Farm stuff, which if you look in my store now, you would see those pickles and salsas and things like that. And I sell a ton of those. So I do have to incorporate those into my packing, but it's still different than selling, 50 vases in 2 hours that you got to package up the next day. Whereas on the other platforms, if I wake up on Monday morning and have you know, 6, 8, 10 things to package. It's not near as big a deal as having to package, 50 breakable items, to go out, because I always try to ship my stuff next business day. So for the most part, I've like gone away from selling anything except for ephemera, paper stuff on Whatnot, just for those reasons. So occasionally, if somebody asks me to be in an event like that's like I've done Petite Palooza, and that one was I had a lot of breakables in that, but it was mostly well, it was all small stuff, so that one wasn't too bad either. Um, so how many people who are in here right now are sellers? And I guess, what do you sell? And feel free to promote your show, or put fire emojis if you are a seller, and we'll all go follow everybody. That's one of the reasons I did this show, was just to help promote the Whatnot community. I talk about things that have changed my reseller life, so to speak. So, List Perfectly definitely falls into that category. I would say my um, Rollo printer falls into that category. Before I had a label printer, I was just printing labels through my inkjet printer. And, there were a lot of issues with that. Sometimes the label would peel off. Sometime, I'd always have to try to plan it where I printed two labels every time, because, once you run it through the inkjet printer, you're running the risk, if you run it back through, of it peeling off. So I would also do, just print on paper and tape it down. All that was time consuming. Now that I have my Rollo over here, it was definitely a game changer from a time standpoint. Let's see. I'm going to go in and make sure. Let's see. I'm already following Mary and Claude. Let's see if I'm following. All right. I am now following you, Tiny Little Cars. Thanks for putting your information in there. I did buy some. I bought some models at a yard sale this weekend. That is one thing I found. They will go to my booth. They're not. They're like not little. I think they're. I'm not sure what scale they are, but they're the normal like plastic models you get in a box. I think I bought 6 of them. They had been opened, which I normally don't buy models that have been opened, but I bought these because they were like, I got 6 of them for $10, and I'll throw them in my booth and put like $10 each on them, and I think they'll sell. I did look in each box, and it looked like they were complete at least. So we'll see. I figured for $10 it was worth the risk on that. Um, hey, welcome in, Alana 1998, TJ 2022. Bull Durham, well, B Durham 101, 103, and appreciate y'all stopping by. We'll start the giveaway here in just about a little less, and then that'll carry us to the top of the hour. And I did buy Tiny Little Cars. I was at a yard sale. This was actually one of the good yard sales I found this summer. I went, and they had this whole box of die-cast cars, like Hot Wheels matchboxes. They also had some larger, like 10 toys in there, some tanks and things of that nature. But I ended up giving them $50 for the whole box. And when I got home, there were probably 10 or 15 Hot Wheel Redlines in there. There were like some 10 toys from the probably 40s, that time frame. And I think I ended up, like, I've cherry picked a few out that I put online and sold, but most part I just then stuck that same box out at my booth, and I think I did like $8 each, or 3 for some price. And I ended up probably tripling, quadrupling my money on those. And I'm not a big like diecast person. I certainly am not an expert and don't know a lot, but I could tell that was a good deal just for the volume of stuff that was in there. So I thought that was a cool find. I enjoyed looking at them anyway, because there was some really cool things in there. So that's kind of the extent of the kind of stuff I do with diecast. I don't like seek it out, but if I see it, I know just enough to know, to know that was a good deal. So, okay, I'll definitely keep you in mind, Tiny Little Cars. And if you want, you can send me an email. If you go to my website, which is franklinhillventures.com, that has links to all my social media and such. And you can either email me or send me a message on Instagram or whatever. So, Miss Junkin does vintage decor. I am already following Miss Junkin. So, Thanks for putting your information in there. Yeah, and so yeah, anybody else who wants to put their information in the chat, feel free. Um, Trying to think if I'm doing anything else exciting this week. Not really. I've got an eye doctor appointment today, so that's really exciting. I am doing so. One thing that I'm kind of excited about, I got asked to be part of a podcast. So every Sunday night, I'm going to get with his name's Wes, and he lives in Knoxville as well, but he goes by the Slim Flipper on YouTube, and he's just kind of getting started in reselling. But before reselling, he had done a lot of interviews. Like he had interviewed, people outside the reselling world, and he's in the process of getting a podcast started up. And me and Frizzy Fines, he lives in Greensboro. He asked us to be kind of on the panel with him. So we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to it. It's just an opportunity to get my name out there and talk about reselling. And then the other thing I'm doing kind of similar is that List Perfectly has something called listing parties. If you're a subscriber to List Perfectly, there's all kind of different listing parties you can attend, and they're basically Zoom meetings that you can go, and they're led by different people, and everyone will have different subjects. So me and a friend of mine named Brian, um, Toys in the Attic is his handle. We're doing kind of a weekly listing party, and we started our last one this last Thursday, and it was top five reseller tools was the subject of that. We're going to kind of go with this theme of top five. And like next week, we're going to do our top five, like most unique finds, sourcing finds that we've had since we've been reselling. And I think what we're going to do, because listing party, it's kind of like it's kind of like this. It's kind of a show, but since it's Zoom, it's interactive. People can talk back with you, um, but it's only on the List Perfectly platform. So we're going to get together this afternoon and basically re-record our show and put it on YouTube. And I think we're going to try to, kind of do that every week where we'll do the listing party on Thursday and then we'll re record it on the following Monday and then put it out on YouTube and be kind of like a podcast. So I guess there's two podcasts that I'm getting involved with, and who knows if it'll lead anywhere, but they're fun to do. And, it's, I mean, when you're a reseller, if you're like me, I mean, I'm in down here in my basement, which is where I am now most of the time. So, reselling can be somewhat of a lonely life. And so anytime you can find social outlets, which is one thing I like about Whatnot, the fact that, it gives you an opportunity to interact with other people. It is, it's kind of one way with the me talking. Luckily I can ramble on pretty easily for a while. But people can put things in the chat, so it's nice to be able to converse with other people that way. And I have actually met so many people on Whatnot. A few that I've actually met in person. Either they were passing through town, or I've met them at a reseller conference. So it's kind of neat. But Whatnot in general, I think, is a great platform from the standpoint of a community. But the ephemera community where I sell is an especially tight group of people. The community in the ephemera area is just incredible. Um, when I have shows, I mean, it's a lot of the same people are in there, and I mean, it's like they're old friends. So really enjoy Whatnot from that respect. So anyway, check me out on YouTube. You can search for Franklin Hill Ventures over there. I've started to try to put a little more of an emphasis on YouTube. I mean, I don't have any like grand plans to ever be like a huge YouTuber. I mean, in my opinion, and y'all can jump in and say if you think differently, I think that you kind of have to decide if you want to be a content creator or a reseller. Um, if you want to really make money at either one, I think it's hard to do both. Um, and I think I'll always be a reseller who has a YouTube channel versus somebody like Harry Tornado, for example. He makes most of his money, at least I think he does, off his content. And then he resells just enough to get content for his shows. So, um, so I enjoy doing the YouTube, and I actually was excited. I had my very first video come close to hitting 1,000 views, which for me was like huge. I mean, I normally would have like 50 views on my YouTube videos. So I have been putting more of an emphasis on that. My wife and I did one where we were cleaning out our garage a couple of weeks ago, and that was kind of the first one that did over 100. I think we did, oh, I can't remember exactly how many, but did a pretty good number on that. And then I did one from the US 21 yard sale up in North Carolina, and it did okay. But then the 127 yard sale, the world's longest yard sale, which I'm not sure if anybody else went to that. I did a video from that one, and that's the one that got almost 1,000 views. So I think I'm going to be putting one out there today where I was packing some china last week. So if you sell china or are interested in selling china, watch that video and maybe you'll get some tips for packing. I'll just tell you the way that I pack is going to be a lot different than what most people who sell breakables would tell you to pack. I do no double boxing, so I don't know, call it controversial, but that's mine's basically uh, a box, bubble wrap, and packing paper, and that's worked really well for me. I mean, I ship a ton of china, self-proclaimed China King in Knoxville, and um, I I mean I can't remember the last time that I had any breakage. So hey, welcome in BWS shop. Oh, let me go ahead and pin the giveaway. So as I mentioned today, well, here, let me go ahead and start it, and then I'll show you what it is. Then if there's nothing else, we'll go find somebody to raid. So um, the main thing's this Christmas Carols book. I think it's from probably the 40s or 50s, but I just love the girls on the cover of this. But I always try to give away stuff that's representative of the types of things that I sell in my show. So this is, a good example of ephemera type stuff. Then have this cool little dog postcard and then just a sticker. So you'll get all three of those if you win, and just a little small token of my appreciation for stopping by today. So, I mean, I guess, well, so the last time that I had a job when I was going into an office was September of 21 is when I left that job, and I was working at Erlanger Hospital in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I was still living here in Knoxville, so I was driving back and forth 3 or 4 days a week. So I did that for 5 years, and I was in the clinical engineering department, the department that fixes medical equipment. And I was the IT liaison between clinical engineering and then the regular IT group. I've always been in IT most of my work career. So I left there to do the reselling full time. And then about a year or so ago, I guess, I started picking up all these other like IT consulting jobs, kind of doing the same thing that I was doing when I was at Erlanger, but just for different hospitals around the country. So I guess, I guess what's changed is, I used to resell to supplement my income I got from my 9 to 5 job. Now I'm, you know, doing the consulting to supplement what I can get reselling. So, um, I'm really glad I picked that stuff up. I mean, A, it's, I mean, as everybody knows, it's always nice to have extra money. Um, but, B, it keeps that part of my brain going. So, hey, Candyland Curiosities. Hey, Dino 1307. Thanks for stopping by. Um, so yeah, that's kind of where I am now with with the reselling versus a regular job. I mean, I hope to not ever have to go back to an office job. The good thing with the IT consulting that I do is that, I mean, I can almost, I've, I'm starting to get enough calls. Like it's a combination. I do some consulting for my old hospital, the old hospital I worked at. I guess it is an old hospital, but for the hospital I worked at previously. And in fact, I'm going down there next Tuesday just to see some of the people that I used to work with and meet with the leadership team. But then I hooked up with a consulting company I mean, there's a software product called Nivolo that's like a CMMS, computerized maintenance management system that I'm got to be pretty good with at Erlanger. So there's a pretty high demand. Hey, thanks. I think this is the one my daughter gave me for Christmas when she bought me tickets for her and I to go see Jimmy Buffett in Tuscaloosa. They ended up canceling the concert, but I still have the T-shirt. And I don't have any Mafia stuff today, Bronny. I mean, occasionally I'll come across Mafia things, not that often, to be honest, though. But I mean, today's more of just my chat show that I do every Monday morning at 8:30. So make sure you bookmark future shows. Really appreciate everybody stopping by. We have a minute 26 on the giveaway. Then we'll start wrapping up. Find somebody to to raid. Yeah, and I've seen him a bunch of times, Candyland. I've seen him at least probably half dozen or more times. So when I first moved to Nashville in 1990, I graduated from Tennessee Tech, which was in Cookeville, and moved to Nashville. And my roommate and I, every summer, Jimmy Buffett would come every summer to Nashville and do a big concert at a place called Starwood. If anybody's familiar with the Nashville area, it was a big outdoor amphitheater. It's not there anymore. But we would have a huge Jimmy Buffett party, and then we'd rent a limo, and about 12 or 15 of us would take the limo to the show. And we did that, I think, three or four straight years. Um, so yeah, miss those days. Of course, he still tours, but it's kind of sporadic, and he's had a lot of health issues, so I don't expect him to be touring too much longer. I mean, I'm glad I got to see him as many times as I did. I also was fortunate enough to see Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys guy, a couple of times, and the Beach Boys are like my absolute favorite band. So we got 5 seconds left on the giveaway. So we got 9 entries. So that'll be drawing here in just a second. And the winner is Kelly Buller 83. Thank you for stopping by, and that will be coming your way today. I will go ahead and get that packaged up as soon as the show ends, and you are so welcome. I really appreciate you coming by. So we have 16 people in here. So if there's not any more questions or anything, let me look over here and find somebody to raid. So yeah, if you can stick with me long enough to do the raid, I know it's always, I know I love it when I get raided, and I'm sure if you're a seller, you can identify with that. So we'll see if there's anybody who's got a show going on in any of I always kind of look in the antiques category first and start there, since that's where I sell. But if anybody knows of anybody in particular you want us to raid, I'm glad to raid anybody. We have the Flying Monkey Circus, songs, trivia, fun. I am Missy D. We could raid her. Then we have Cool. I think I rated Cool Wolf 101 last week. So, oh man, thanks so much for the tip, Tiny Little Cars. That was definitely not expected, but surely appreciated. So, tell you what, let's just go ahead and raid this I Am Missy D. I have never been to her show, so I always like to check out people that I haven't seen before. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody stopping by. Make sure you follow me on Whatnot and bookmark my shows that are coming up. My next selling show is Friday at 6:00, and it's part of the Junk Journal train. So looking forward to that. A little different for me, but still paper. And yeah, go to my website, www.franklinhillventures.com. Follow me on Instagram. I'm on YouTube now, so follow me on all my social media stuff. And looking forward to seeing everybody Friday. And have a great week. And I guess that's it. So let's go ahead and get this raid started. And as I mentioned, if you can just stick with me long enough to get over there and say hello. This is going to be I Am, if I can spell her name. Let's see. I Am Missy D. There she is. All right. I have no idea what she's doing in her show. So we'll see together. And everybody have a great day.